I think what I really liked is that it's a very genuine feel in especially because it is a private school and sometimes it could be a little intimidating, but it's very genuine. Um, the staff there are very caring. I've mentioned that, and I feel like they have provided the right combination of the academics and character development and a general feel for like the students' well-being.
Hi, I'm Danielle and I'm from Our Kids. I just spoke with Desiree, the mother of Jacob. Jacob attends Rotherglen School. Listen to this interview to hear more about Jacob and Desiree's experience with him being at the school, extracurricular opportunities, how parents can get involved, gain an overall sense of the school community, and learn more about why Rotherglen might be a suitable fit for your child. Tell me a little bit more about Jacob. What is he like? What are his likes and dislikes?
Oh, he loves Lego. He loves hockey. He plays ice hockey, so he's all about hockey right now. He does like to read adventure books. He likes to watch TV, and he also likes to game with NHL hockey. So he's a regular kind of little boy.
And what kind of learner is Jacob? What are his learning styles?
Um, he has been with the school for a very long time, so I think it's probably developed. He has a very self-learning capability where he is able to learn on his own, and then if he needs help, he'll come to somebody. So for the most part, he learns on his own, and he likes to ask a lot of questions as well. So hopefully that's how he's learning.
And can you explain the process that you took to choose Rotherglen for Jacob? Were you considering other schools? And if so, why did you choose this one ultimately?
Right. So it was a bit of an organic process. So at the time we enrolled him, he was 2.5, and Rotherglen had a pre kindergarten program at the time. So when we put him in, it was almost like we looked around, but this was close to home. It had a good reputation. And so we tried it out and we really liked it, so much so that when it came to actually choosing between, regular school, once kindergarten started, it was like a no-brainer. We were going to keep him there.
What was the application process like for him and for your family?
It was very simple, actually. We did a tour of the school. So I went in, I spoke with the principal, Ms. Snyder at the time, spoke with the administrator, Ms. Rossi, and I got a very comfortable, genuine feeling about the school. It was a very caring environment. It was very clean and organized, very bright. Everyone seemed to be happy there. So it was just like a very short meeting. And I thought for a 2.5-year-old, that's pretty much what he needed. And that's why we picked that. And there was no entrance process or anything. It was just we took a look, filled out the forms, and took it from there.
And how has Jacob responded to being at Rotherglen so far? Has he had an overall positive or negative experience?
Oh, he loves it there. He loves it there. Um, how do I say, it's almost like another family for him because he's been there for so long. He knows everybody so well now. And even now during these times, when the kids were at home for such a long time, he was very excited to go back to school. I was, a little bit worried which child wants to go back to school, but I think it's because it's that family environment that's created there that it's very caring and nurturing and comfortable for the child. So he has only positive things and positive experiences in Rotherglen. I cannot say anything else.
And do you feel like the staff and the teachers there have done a good job of adapting to Jacob's individual learning styles to support him?
I believe so. So he's from what I've been told, he's a bit ahead so far. I think also because he's been there for so long, he's adapted to learning styles. Until last year, it was a very Montessori type of learning where it's child-led. And so the teacher would adapt to how far or where the child is in their own learning process. And therefore, you'd get sort of a customized approach to your learning. It's still the same way, but right now they've moved a step away from the Montessori program. But I think that if he has found something where he's able to do it very easily, the teachers would provide him with more of a challenge, a more challenging um, lesson for him to go through. And I think just generally, wherever the child is, they do adapt very easily to the child's needs. If you need more support or if you need more of a challenge, it's always provided. And I think also the child benefits from that, and I think likes that as well, because then they don't get bored, right?
And as a parent, have you noticed a difference or improvement in Jacob's personal growth and development that could be attributed to attending the school?
Um, yes, I think the school has done a great job with just developing like an overall student personality, you know, just a very responsible civic obligation, a lot of values that are put forward. And I think those all feed into just generally how and what he's learned. And yes, I think it has had a positive impact on his personal growth. I've never had any issues with that. So I hope that's part of how he's like they have impacted him in that way.
And if you can name one thing that you think Jacob likes the most about his experience there so far, what do you think that might be?
That's really hard because there's so many things. um, I think definitely the children there as well. Everybody is, you know, it's a smaller group, smaller class. You get to know people a bit better. He likes he likes his friends. He loves his teachers. Never had any issue with any of the teachers. Like he's never had any negative experiences with any of them. Just general environment. He's always been also in the before and after care program. So the teachers that are involved in those programs are also, you know, very kind, very caring, and it's almost like another set of parents, I would say. So he's enjoyed it there, and he's never had any issue.
And as a parent, what is one thing that you personally appreciate and like the most about the school?
Oh, there's a lot of things, but I think what I really like is that it's a very genuine feel in especially because it is a private school, and sometimes it could be a little intimidating, but it's very genuine. Um, the staff there are very caring. I've mentioned that, and I feel like they have provided the right combination of the academics and character development and a general feel for like the students' well-being. So there's a different there's a lot of components there that actually have given me the most positive experience as a parent. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And typically, most schools will have a list of values on their website or displayed at the school itself. But as a parent, you've gotten a chance to witness firsthand what the values are. So, would you be able to speak about, from your perspective, what Rotherglen's values are in actual practice?
There's a lot. So what could I probably maybe give a couple of examples. Um, they have a very big campaign also. I think a lot of schools do, but they focus a lot on anti-bullying, um, you know, how to stand up, how to deal with those situations for if children ever had to find themselves in that. Um, Self-respect, confidence. There's a few now. I can't really remember a lot of them, but they do pick like almost a trait every week to focus on, or maybe it's even every couple of weeks. But it's sort of instilled in the child in different ways. They have assemblies sometimes to speak about these traits. So that's how they sort of encourage the child as well.
And do you have a memory of a specific project or assignment or even a highlight of Jacob's experience there that you were proud of that you might be able to share?
Oh, there's so many. um, well, every year they do a project. They have an international day, so they focus on a particular country, and it's individual and it's collaborative. So you know the child gets a chance to learn a little bit of both, like teamwork and how to also do their own work in a project setting. I think those were my favorites. I can't really pinpoint one because every year it's a different country. And I like how they come back during the process of putting the project together. They come up with all these new and great ideas and information about different parts of the world. And we like to travel, so it's really great to learn that as well. It's almost like I look forward to those because I get to learn about it. And they have a little component where they do that country international day food, a little luncheon where you get to sample a little bit of it. So it's real, it's creative. It immerses them slightly in the culture of that country. So I like that one myself particularly.
And would you just be able to talk a little bit more about a typical family at Rotherglen? Like, would you say that the values and goals are aligned between parents?
I would think so. Uh, so my son's now in grade 4, and I believe most of the families have been with uh, with this cohort for a while. And so I think the very fact that we've been around for so long, we believe in the values of the school and what they teach, and we probably have a very similar approach and similar um, understanding of what these values are. So I would hope that we have a similar uh, platform where we can teach our children these same values as well. Um, I've never had any other experiences. I think all the parents are great. They're very open to providing information or sharing their experiences as well. So I feel comfortable, talking and being with other families in the school as well.
Do you feel like there's a lot of opportunities available for parents to get involved themselves?
Um, I think so. There are. I When we used to have field trips, parents were able to volunteer and accompany children. I personally haven't done it myself, but if that's an option, just I think generally the school has a lot of support in itself. So if they need to reach out, they do. For the most part, they pretty much have everything under control. And I'm sure, though, if a parent wants to involve themselves somehow, they do. Sometimes parents do come in and talk about their careers and, show and tell, experience. So I don't think the school would be against that. They are very welcoming for those experiences. So yeah, I think if we wanted to, we could have um, some input in or some sort of uh, joint experience together.
And what is the relationship like between parents and staff and administration? Do you feel like the teachers and staff have an open door policy? Do they welcome and accept communication? What has your experience been like there?
Yeah, for sure. Because I've had maybe a couple of issues to bring up sometimes, and the administration's been very open to listening to what I had to say, my input, and there's always that open communication. And literally, it's like if you walk into the school, the staff are there. I usually see Snyder and Rossi around, just have a general conversation. I actually love talking to all the teachers. It's one of my favorite things to do because they're really also individual and have their own outlooks, and it's really nice to get to know who's taking care of your child and who's impacting their growth. And I never had any issues where any of the teachers would never wouldn't be able to talk to you about anything. They're very open to any sort of input or communication that you have.
What is the relationship like between students and students? Do you feel like they have inclusive and welcoming classroom spaces? And is there an environment where they could foster long-lasting relationships?
I think so. I mean, I'm not part of that student copies. I wouldn't know, but there's any issues. I think they always seek guidance like from their teachers and their peers. It's always resolved. Students will be students. I don't think it's always smooth sailing, but I think there's always open lines of communication between teachers and students and staff. Everybody knows everyone so well that it's easy to have that open line of communication as well, because the classes are smaller and you get to know them and you get to know what affects them in different ways. So I think as the child grows, they learn about those things and how to handle those kinds of communications with each other, right, in those situations.
And what are the extracurricular opportunities like for students?
I believe so. This is one of three campuses, and it's one of the smaller campuses. And we do have a athletic program in the sense that they have gym as a class option, and I think at a certain grade they also participate in the interschool meets as well. My child hasn't gotten there yet, so I can't really speak to that. I think if anything, that is something uh, because of the size, maybe it's just a smaller program in general, but it's something they could perhaps enhance in the future if an opportunity presents itself.
What are the classroom sizes like? Are they on the smaller side?
They're pretty small. I think right now for grade four, it's about 15. And I don't think it's ever surpassed 18 at the most that I know of. And I think my child's in one of the bigger classes.
And as a parent, are you happy with that classroom size? Do you wish that it would be smaller or bigger, or are you happy with the way it is now?
I'm okay with it. It's worked so far. I think if it was too small as well, you wouldn't have that opportunity for enough interaction. And I think if it was too big, then you wouldn't have enough attention, or it's a lot more children to handle. But I've not had any issues with it so far. So, and they've been accommodating. I think currently, due to the situation that we're in, they've had to break up this grade into one of the bigger classes and one of the smaller classes just because of the physical room space. But I don't think it has had any negative impact so far.
So I want to shift gears for a bit and ask you, is there anything about Rotherglen that you found surprising? Something that you maybe didn't realize or an expectation that you had until you were kind of thrown into this private school experience?
Um, I guess it's a positive surprise. When I first started it, uh, I didn't know what kind of environment I'd expect. And what I like about it myself, it's not very elitist, um, which is something I appreciate because I think it's good to be part of a community that has different kinds of socioeconomic backgrounds. And I find that it's a very genuine place. I was very surprised that I could just be part of this community without too many expectations. And I think that is what I found quite um, um, quite nice about it.
And how do you feel that they made you feel that way? Like, what did they implement, or how was that message gotten across to you?
I think they're just very, down to earth, genuine people who care about teaching your child and their personal growth. And as a parent, just I think also they see it from our side of our point of view. So I like that it's just they're seeking the best interest of the child, and that is what I find that it just sort of it reflects in everything that they do, and just generally by that open communication and that camaraderie. I think that's just made me feel at home being there every time I go pick him up or I drop him off. It's really just a very easy experience.
And if you were to describe a weakness or an opportunity for growth and development that you acknowledge about the school, what do you think that might be?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I think maybe if anything, it would be the athletic programming. But again, it's the size of the school. And so, whereas it's a very big benefit in general, perhaps it might not um, benefit the athletic program because you can't really have a big field and you can't have a huge gym, but it works for now. And I think if in the future there's other opportunities that could, be thought of, some other sort of innovation that will work for just for that portion of it.
And to parents that might be watching this video who are considering sending their child or children to Rotherglen, what advice would you give them? Would you recommend this school, and why or why not?
Yes, I would recommend the school. I've been here long enough, so I think absolutely. I've had a very positive experience, as I mentioned earlier. And um, I think if you're looking for something where your child will get a very good education, where they'll be very well cared for, and their personal growth is also focused, not just academics, it's a good place to be. it's a smaller school. You get a lot of attention, and they're very open, communicative. It's very homely. I like that. And I feel very safe and very comfortable dropping him off every single day. He's happy. I'm happy. There's nothing else, I could ask for. So based on that, I would absolutely recommend the school to anyone. And I also want to maybe point out that generally the academics in itself, I'm very pleased with the fact that even as he has progressed, generally the classes, the school is a little bit ahead of the provincial standards. So I am happy that they're doing also that very important part of that job, the teaching and how a child will learn and how they have a little bit of an advantage maybe going forward just by that.
Would you say that, if possible, visiting the school, doing meet and greets, whether that's physical tours, if that's possible now, or virtual tours, things like that, you would recommend to a parent who is shopping for a private school in their area?
Sure, I don't see how that would hurt, right? Because if you get a feel for it physically, that's even better. But if we can't go in now, a virtual tour is also great. It would help, yes. But also speaking to the staff there, speaking to the potential teacher if you can, like whichever grade they're going into, that would also help a lot.
And for my last question for you, if you were to pick up the phone and call your past self before embarking on this entire experience with Rotherglen, what would you tell yourself?
Um, I would tell myself that you did a good job. No, that there are no regrets. That there was some sort of hesitation in the beginning because he was very little, but we saw it through, and I'm very happy with that decision. It was a little bit hard in the beginning because he was so little, but children are very resilient and they grow so fast, and I can't believe how far he's come in these few years. And I think I owe a lot of that to the school.